So who was the person responsible for granting you that first opportunity? Who was the person that brought JTG in the WWE in the first time?
All right, so when down in Louisville, Kentucky, I was in OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. That was the minor leagues of WWE, where they got most of their talent from. During the Ruthless Aggression era. Shelton Benjamin brought Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. A lot of that talent came from their minor league OVW. Um, uh, and when I was able to get to the contract class, because there's different tiers in OVW, they have the amateur class, and then there's the intermediate class, and then there's the contract class. And if you're in the contract class, you get seen by the WWE office, and that's where you wanted to be. So after a few years of experience in paying that tuition, I got seen by Vince McMahon because of a vignette that me and Shad did down in Kentucky. We were having fun on camera. We were beating up guys at the ATM, stealing from the police. Just having fun on camera and just being ourselves, but with the volume turned all the way up. And Vince McMahon saw that, and when he saw that, he didn't even see me wrestle. He just saw the chemistry between me and Shad and our on-screen presence, and he wanted that on his product. He wanted that on Raw, and I got the call.
I'll translate that to Spanish. En aquel momento dado, en la antigua OVW en Louisville, en Kentucky, estaba un joven JTG que nos explica que en aquel momento dado habían tres clases. Estaba la clase amateur, estaba la clase intermedia y estaba la clase de contratos. Esa clase de contratos tenía la oportunidad de que lo viera la gente en la WWE en aquel momento dado, y Vince McMahon decide observar el trabajo de JTG sin ni siquiera haberlo visto luchar, por un viñete que él hizo con Shad, en donde estaba robándole cosas a la gente y a la policía, cerca de las ATM, una cosa increíble, y vio esa química entre Shad y JTG y dijo, ok, esto es lo que yo quiero en mi producto, y eventualmente lo lleva a Raw, y de esa manera es que llegan a Raw. So, back on OVW, who decided to pair you up with Shad? Because the chemistry was like if you were long life friends, like from 2, 3, 4 years old.
Yeah, when I first moved to Louisville, Kentucky, I had two people that took me under their wing when I first got there, and were like treating me like a little brother. And I was Elijah Burke. The wrestling world know him as the Pope, and then Shad. And Shad, we didn't plan to be a tag team. We were put together by Danny Davis, Al Snow, and Paul Heyman. Shad had just finished running a championship program with CM Punk, and though that ran its course, and they were like, "What's next for Shad?" And I was in the contract class, and they noticed that I had a lot of potential, a lot of charisma. I was in a tag team before, and my former tag team partner was having some personal issues, so I was there in a standby. And they said, "Why don't we put Shad in?" It was their decision, Al Snow, Paul Heyman, and Danny Davis, to put us together. And when they put us together, we had such great chemistry, and we hit a home run right off the bat.
Cuando él llega a OVW, hay dos personas que lo toman debajo de su ala. The Pope, conocido anteriormente como Elijah Burke, y Shad fue la otra persona. Y entonces siempre fueron buenos con él. En aquel momento dado, él estaba teniendo problemas con su antiguo compañero de equipo. Y nace la idea de Danny Davis, de Al Snow y de Paul Heyman de decir, oye, estos dos muchachos juntos pueden funcionar, ese pair-up va a ser excelente, y eventualmente así ocurre. Shad termina su programa con CM Punk en aquel momento dado, y JTG pues hace equipo con él. Do you remember your first time meeting Shad, like not necessarily pro wrestling wise, but the first time you guys met? What was the first thing that went through your mind when you saw this enormous human being with such a great heart?
The first time I remember exactly the first time I met Shad, I was introduced to him by Elijah Burke. It was my first amateur show, and Shad came to the amateur show to see the new talent, to see pretty much to get out the house. There's not pretty much to do a lot to do in Louisville, Kentucky. So a lot of the contract class, a lot of the TV, the local TV stars came and watched the amateur class. And And I was introduced to him, and me and him hit it off right away because we're both from Brooklyn and we grew up in the same neighborhood. And we exchanged contact, and we were inseparables since then. And that was my first time meeting Shad, and he immediately took me under his wing, and he was like my big brother down there when I was in Louisville.
I'll try to say that briefly. En aquel momento dado, Shad, JTG estaba en la casa de los amateurs y Shad llega a ver el trabajo de que estaba haciendo JTG en OVW versión amateur. Quien se lo presenta es Elijah Burke. Finalmente, formalmente, pues dos muchachos de Brooklyn juntos, simplemente estaba hecho para ellos. Y Shad llega allí directamente, ve su trabajo y simplemente nace esta química. Back on the developmental days, you mentioned Elijah Burke and Shad. How was the chemistry among you guys? And you guys ever travel outside to do, I don't know, dark matches for the main roster? And as well, how was your experience, traveling with both Shad and Elijah Burke, or living basically with them because you guys were always together?
I didn't travel much with Elijah Burke when I got to WWE. But I spent me and Shad traveled together. We was joined at the hip. We were pretty much married together. That's what they call tag teams, because you guys, if one person gets in trouble, both of you guys get in trouble. One person's success, another person is like we were joined at the hip. And so I did most of my traveling with Shad, and Shad liked to have fun. That was his thing, and sometimes him having fun got us both into trouble. But his thing was having fun and having a great story to tell the next day.
I'll translate that. En aquel momento dado, no viajó mucho con Elijah Burke, pero sí con Shad. Y siempre le mencionaban como que estos equipos terminan siendo un matrimonio, terminan siendo prácticamente un matrimonio. Y pues cuando uno se metía en problemas, el otro se metía en problemas, pero siempre destaca esa importancia de Shad de siempre querer divertirse, hacer que el resto se divirtiera y siempre tener una historia bonita que contar al otro día. So, let's fast forward a little bit in time. Do you recall your first day in the main roster? How do you felt, going into the backstage area and seeing these personalities like, I don't know, John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Ric Flair, Triple H, among many other guys that, were part of the roster at that point?
My mind was definitely blown because I grew up watching professional wrestling, and at the end of the day, all professional wrestlers, as much as they don't want to admit it, we're all fans at the end of the day. So, but we just took it a step further, and we pursued our dream. So yeah, so I remember being on the bus on my first international tour, going to UK, and I had a moment where I was like, I can't believe this. I'm on the bus with Roddy Piper, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, John Cena, and I'm considered their colleague. It was like crazy to me. Like just a few months ago, a year before that, I was working at a daycare at the gym, because that's when I got my call to go to WWE. I was working at a daycare at the gym, and just a year before that, I was picking up kids and signing them in when they came through the door. Now I'm on a bus with Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, John Cena, Shawn Michaels. It was a lot, but I kept my composure, and I was very professional.
I'll translate that to Spanish. Le pregunto qué recuerda de esas primeras veces que entró al camerino y de repente ve todas estas personas que ahora son sus compañeros. Siempre él menciona que él creció viendo lucha libre, él siempre fue un fanático de la lucha libre, del wrestling, pero dio ese paso adicional para poder convertirse en luchador. Y cuando estaba un día de repente en un bus, en una camioneta, de camino a un tour a UK, él se da cuenta como que aquí está Roddy Piper, aquí está Ric Flair, está Shawn Michaels, como que anda para el carajo, estos son mis compañeros, yo soy considerado su colega, y se llena de emoción en aquel momento dado de esa manera. Siempre se mantuvo la compostura, muy serio, pero pues obviamente la emoción estaba por dentro. Do you remember your first match in the main roster? Or was it along with Shad? Was it yourself? Was it a dark match, a regular match? What do you recall of that match? And mainly, what do you felt at the exact moment you were, about to go outside through the curtain and walk down the ramp?
The first match that Shad and I had, it was definitely a dark match. and I believe we worked. I'm trying to remember. It was such a long time ago. It was Charlie Horse and Viscera. I believe so. And I wasn't nervous at all. You know, it was more of a feeling of, you know, I was excited to go out there and show the boys in the back, show the office, WWE, the office, and show the world what we could do, and represent the hood, represent the fans that look like me. I was just anxious to do it and go out there and have a good time. So there was no nerve. I didn't have any butterflies in my stomach. I wasn't nervous, but more of excited to go out there.
I'll translate that. No se sentía nervioso de salir por la cortina, simplemente estaba ansioso, estaba emocionado. Este era su momento de mostrarle al mundo qué podía hacer y demostrar a los muchachos ahí atrás de lo que estaba hecho. Y su primera lucha recuerda vagamente que fue contra Charlie Haas y Viscera, pero simplemente recuerda eso, que se sentía muy emocionado, obviamente, de estar con Shad y de poder probarle al mundo de que estaba hecho. So, let's fast forward a little bit in time. We all remember that wholesale on Survivor Series, I believe, Lita's retirement, and Cryme Tyme suddenly started selling everything among the things, a dildo, a yeast infection lotion cream, an underwear that JBL bought, among many other things. So who came up with the idea of, doing that totally non-PG sketch in the middle of pay-per-view television?
It definitely wasn't our idea to do the segment, but when we were told, as soon as we walked through the building, we were told what we were doing, and we was like, wow, that's for a retirement match. It's our last match, and then we went up to Lita because we wanted to make sure that we got her blessings to do it. It was her retirement match. I know that's not the way that a WWE superstar would like to go out. But she gave us our blessings. She's like, you guys have fun, don't hold back, go out there and give people a good show. And then we got the go from her. So we just got creative with it. They told us about the segment, but it was up to me and Shad to make it historical, make it memorable. And we started getting some items together and creating the promo as we went around the ring, and we rehearsed it, and some stuff we didn't say during rehearsal because we knew we would get in trouble for it. So we just kind of like flipped it out in front of a live audience, and it was either going to get us in trouble or it was going to be great. And it came out great, so we took a good risk.
I'll translate that. En aquel momento le pregunto por ese famoso wholesale que tuvieron de la lucha de retiro de Lita. Dice que no fue idea de ellos, simplemente le dieron pues, ese segmento. Y obviamente es como que les estuvo raro, a nadie quiere irse de esa manera a una lucha de retiro. Y va donde Lita a preguntarle como que mira, esto está bien, y obtuvo su bendición como que sí, diviértanse. Pues obviamente a la hora de practicar todo lo que se supone que dijeran las promos y todo, hay cosas que ellos no dijeron en el rehearsal, en el ensayo, no las dijeron porque se podían meter en problemas, así que podía salir extremadamente mal o extremadamente bien, y pues fue extremadamente bien, se divirtieron, muchas de las cosas las desarrollaron en el camino, y bueno, todo fue excelente. So what did you got released, from WWE, both of you, in the first time in 2007, just to hire you back like a year later? What happened there?
It wasn't even a year later. It was 6 months later. It was 6 months later. We got 3 months, 3 months pay, and then it was kind of like a paid vacation, if you ask me. But they had to make an example out of us because we reacted to a rib gone bad, not very well. Especially us being green, being new. We reacted in front of a live audience, and there had to be some consequences to that. So what they wanted to do was make an example out of us, release us, make sure that they sent a message to the locker room, like, look, you can't do this, and get away with it. So we were the examples made of, and then they brought us back. We didn't know that at the time. They kind of hinted to, just keep your noses clean. Don't say anything negative about the company, remain positive, and maybe down the road we'll bring you guys back. And at the time I was like, I just lost my dream job. I wasn't trying to hear that right now. I was like, yeah, whatever. But they stuck to their word, and we re-debuted after the day after WrestleMania.
I'll translate that to Spanish. Le pregunto por qué fueron dejados en libertad la primera ocasión. Hicieron algo, reaccionaron de manera negativa frente a una audiencia en vivo por algo que no tenía que hacer de esa manera. Historia larga, corta, para simplemente enviar un mensaje a las personas allá atrás de que eso no se podía hacer, los dejan en libertad. Pero él lo ve como unas vacaciones pagas porque estuvo 3 meses con salario y pues 3 meses libre técnicamente, pero siempre les dijeron, mira, manténganse limpios, no hablen de nada negativo de la empresa, manténganse enfocados y tal vez en el futuro vamos a volver a traerlo. Y él como que me estás diciendo eso, yo acabo de perder mi trabajo soñado, y efectivamente mantuvieron su palabra y a los 6 meses luego regresa Cryme Tyme. So you got this second run, everything was different, you guys were you could just see the passion in both of your, you know, your lives, in your eyes. Everyone was like, okay, these guys need to be the next tag team champions. What happened that they didn't, you know, went through that road, giving you the titles?
There was a few occasions where Shad and I were supposed to win the tag team titles. But what we kept hearing from a lot of the agents and some of the head writers is that they said that we didn't need the tag team titles because we were already over. You know, we heard that a lot, and it didn't make sense to us. Like, what do you mean that we're already over? It is that at this moment right now, the tag team titles have been switched around so much that, you know, we need, they said that they needed the titles to make tag teams. You guys are already made, you're already over, the crowd already loves you, and the title, putting the title on you guys at this moment is not going to make any sense. We need to reserve the title for other tag teams who are not established. And it was like, you know, it sounded like they were making excuses, and it was like, whatever. And we just, you know, we kept control of what we can control, and which was our character and getting over with the fans. So that part, you know, and I think as a WWE superstar, even as a professional wrestler, I think nothing beats being over with the crowd. I don't care if you can make somebody the champion, but if the crowd doesn't love them or responds to them or reacts to them, no title could help them. Like, you know, the crowd interaction, fan interaction.
Translate that briefly. En aquel momento dado, ¿por qué nunca le dieron los títulos en pareja a Cryme Tyme? Sencillo. Los agentes a la parte de atrás y los escritores le dijeron, pues si ya ustedes están acá arriba, ustedes están over, ustedes están bien con el público, ustedes no necesitan los títulos. Y es como que, ¿pero por qué? O sea, estamos over, es el momento de darnos los malditos títulos. No pasó, ellos dijeron que tenían que dárselos a otras personas que realmente los necesitaran, y para él su mejor satisfacción es que siempre estuvieron over con el público siempre los quiso, y no importa, hay personas que les dan el título y no funciona, pero en su caso, pues ellos siempre funcionaron.